Hey everyone, it is the 12th of February 2021. It is our episode 6 discussion for WandaVision. This is spoilers, leaks, and a live chat, so we'll be taking your questions absolutely as we always do. I, of course, am Greg Sanders. And I'm making sure I got all my notes and everything together here. This is a different, this is one of the episodes. So like we're in the second half of the season. And if you're new to the channel or if you don't follow our other live streams, welcome. But this discussion is going to be different because we already discussed it in a way. Our leak, and again, I want to give credit to the individual who's been contacting me, who's been emailing me these leaks. It was correct. It was 100%. The episode description was accurate. So what we leaked before, including the video footage, was all accurate. So this is it's going to kind of seem very we recognize it, right? So we kind of knew everything that was coming. So let's see, what have we got here? Dan, Malik, CRX, Adam, welcome all of you. Absolutely. The first thing that really stands out to me is Evan Peters. Love seeing him as Quicksilver. He did great in this role. I really enjoyed this episode. More than that, I loved the opening. It was, as far as I can remember I'm pretty sure the opening was an homage to Malcolm in the Middle, I think, and Catherine Hahn. I just want to note this. I thought this was funny. She had naughty on her on the ass of her pants. That was a great touch. Hey, Terry. A new yes. I do believe I believe Evan Peters is Quicksilver. If you follow previous shows, you know that whether it's myself, Josh, or other guests that we've had, we kind of do that round table of betting. I do believe Evan Peters is actually Quicksilver. Now we can debate the larger villain behind this, whether it is, Mephisto or Nightmare, and we can open that door absolutely. But I do believe Evan Peters is Quicksilver. You look at you look at the way he talks about his memories. You look at what he remembers. He does remember things from the MCU. Now we can take that as, this could potentially be our Quicksilver, but it could also be the multiverse Quicksilver pulled over with this Quicksilver's memories. He remembers being shot. He remembers going out like a chump. He remembers things from this universe. But the fact of the matter is he recognizes all of this. Now, at the very least, he recognizes Wanda. He recognizes her powers. He knows what's going on. On top of the fact that Quicksilver also is outside the mind control. He is aware of the real world, far more so than other residents. And if we can even go back to Agnes. Agnes is at the end of Ellis Street. Now, what's interesting here is whether or not Agnes, who we know who she really is, if you followed our previous leak episode, the question is whether or not if Agnes was really trying to escape the town, or if Agnes was there to manipulate Vision, if this is all a game. Because what does Wanda do at the end of the episode? Her powers grow. She expands, of course, reality, which her reality, which I believe is eventually going to encompass the entire Earth. Again, in an homage to House of M. Who was the Captain Marvel 2 villain cast? I do believe it is Veronke. I'm probably actually pronouncing it wrong. I've only ever read it. But I do believe that they have cast the Skrull Queen. That's where I'm going. I think it's going to be a really dramatic turn when Carol realizes that this little girl has grown up to be a villain. And maybe memories merge as you cross the boundary, says Shirk, which again I also open up to. That is another possibility. So Wanda's unlocking her powers. Someone is getting her to unlock her powers, is what I believe. Someone wants her to do this, and someone is pushing all the right buttons to get her to do this. Quicksilver even acknowledges it. He's here to, push buttons, drive the little Rugrats crazy. Him saying Rugrats was hilarious. My daughter got a kick out of that because I call my children Rugrats. I have my son and daughter. I call them Rugrats. My daughter loved that moment because she's never actually heard someone else say that. Episode 7 reveals that, if we're ready to talk about it, we're ready to talk about it. We can go into those leaks, absolutely. Now, I've covered those leaks in detail. I have covered episode 7 in great detail, but we can go over it again. I'm fine going over it again. Um, but the one thing that this episode does, it's interesting that Agnes is in the car alone. It's also interesting because I want to go through my notes real quick. It's also interesting that not only is Agnes in the car alone, no sign of Ralph, but at the same time, and correct me if I'm wrong, my daughter and I, we tried to rewatch the scenes to check and pay attention. No one in town was dressed as the devil. I couldn't find anybody. Again, correct me if I'm wrong, but no one was dressed as a demon or a devil of any kind. At least that my daughter and I could spot. If you spotted it, do let me know because we couldn't. I mean, like we missed it if it's in there. I know that might be us really digging into the details and really digging into the weeds, and that's fair. But I really do believe. I really don't. I'm even trying to think about it. Like we really did go through. I didn't see a single devil or demon costume. Dan the Man says, if it's our Quicksilver, then why doesn't he recognize Vision, who's the red popsicle? Well, that's what I'm saying. Like, I can play devil's advocate and say that there is potential that he's another Quicksilver with these memories, but he has a mismatch, right? He does have memories from his reality. He knows he got shot. So we have to, or the show rather, will have to rectify that. We'll have to explain that somehow. He knows he got shot. He knows events from this universe, but at the same time, there are other notes where even Wanda remembers things differently. So like there is a line that doesn't follow through exactly. Which again, I do believe is because of the reality Wanda is creating, merging, bringing, and this Quicksilver being brought over suddenly, this Quicksilver having certain memories, like it is all playing a role to it. Because at the same time, not um, she didn't immediately recognize this Quicksilver. The real world, quote unquote, doesn't recognize him at all. Doesn't recognize him at all. I mean, Wu saw the guy playing Quicksilver, didn't recognize him, which means he's not the missing person case or not missing person. It was a missing person case, but it was the FBI, what he was originally investigating. Agatha's husband is Mephisto. Oh well, yeah. We've said that very often. I 100% agree. I think Ralph is going to end up being it's going to end up being Mephisto. If it's not, so be it. That's fine. But I do think that's going to be revealed. I mean, I will also say there could be a lot of potential red herrings and deliberate misinformation, and they are deliberately misleading us. It is interesting also to note that when Vision did cross through, he does completely collapse. He completely shuts down and he does collapse. I will also say that Tyler Hayward, I want to give credit. Like Tyler Hayward is acting very suspicious. I know that there's only a few episodes left. I know episode 7 doesn't make any direct references, at least in the description I have. Episode 7 doesn't reference Hayward at all. So I don't know what his exact deal is. Yes, Monica. No, well, Monica's Spectrum. Monica Rambeau is Spectrum in the comics. She's not a mutant. She's caught in a crazy explosion that gives her powers in the comics, and here she's going to be irradiated and given powers as well. And then we're going to see her end up being Spectrum, which of course originally when Monica first appeared in the comics, she went by Captain Marvel. Hey, Ronnie and Grumpy Boy. Hey, everybody. Could Vision play a role past this? I do think so, yeah. Also, could Monica's contact be Simon Williams or the Reaper? Actually, yes, I wanted to touch on that too. I can't help but speculate if Wanda's contact is going to be the Grim Reaper and or Simon Williams. I had that in my notes. I 100% wonder if they're going to go there. Hey, ASM. Drim, I don't know if that's sarcasm. Let's see. It might be Herb, said Grumpy Boy, in reference to Mephisto or Nightmare. Will we meet the engineer next episode? As far as I know, yes. And Adam also agrees that the villain has to be Nightmare or Mephisto. What about the Blue Marvel? I mean, it would be in this series. I don't think so. I mean, it'd be. I wouldn't be against it, but I would be. I mean, it would be awesome to see, but I don't know if they're. I don't know if they're gonna go there. Depends on. Thank you, kitten. This is weird. I don't know how to answer that. I have not thought about modeling our acting. I have to be completely honest with you. I've always kind of worked behind the scenes at studios. I, I don't know what else to say. Radioactive, welcome to the Mando Aids. We have a new member. Welcome aboard. If you're in our Discord, because YouTube acts up sometimes, if you're in our Discord, let me know your Discord name so that I can give you the special role and special privileges. But do let me know. Do you count Vision as a living thing? And if so, do you think the Hex could change the cells so he can live? I do, actually. Now, they could also give him brain patterns. They could go back down to the comic book route. Vision in the comics originally was modeled after Simon Williams because Simon Williams, the character, died and his brain patterns were used to create Vision. They could do that again. They could do a variation of that. Vision could be based off an individual who dies or will die throughout the course of this series. They could go that route. But I do consider Vision a living thing, and I want him to survive beyond this. I really do. When it comes to episode 7, this is, again, I believe this 100%. This is a very, this is a leaked description of episode 7. I 100% believe this. We did discuss it in... he did call them hell spawns. Speaking of which, I want to go through my notes. I want to go through one more note. One, he did call them hell spawns, which again, they actually are created from Mephisto. But also the other thing that I wanted to note, the commercial, Yo Magic. That's Wanda and I believe the evil entity. We can call it Mephisto or Nightmare, but that was the evil entity because look at the commercial and look at what he says. I've been feeding off yo magic. That is a play on words if I've ever heard one. He is basically telling Wanda, I've been feeding off your magic. Very haunting, very incredibly haunting, and in the context of the universe, frightening for the character as well. But like that's whatever's going on, this entity is feeding off Wanda. It's feeding off her power, and it wants her to use her powers more. It wants her to expand her powers more. I did, yes. His line about having the X and Y chromosome, yes. As soon as he said X, I was like, X gene! I totally went there and I shouted it out. Again, I can't help it. Radioactive, you are in it. Oh, hey, okay. That was easy. I'm going to very quickly give him the roll. Done! Yeah, YouTube acts up. I apologize about that. YouTube is often not very cooperative. So episode 7, like I said, I have gone into this in far more depth, but I'll touch bases on the bullet points. Episode 7 is going to have Agnes. Agnes is going to take the children. She's going to watch the children, okay? So that's kind of the crux of the episode. Agnes is going to watch the children. Wanda's going to leave the children with Agnes. Agnes and the children are going to go missing. Okay? When Agnes and the children go missing, Wanda starts getting nervous. Wanda goes to investigate Agnes's house. She goes into Agnes's basement where she discovers and again, I always want to remind everyone, this comes from an individual who does not speak English. Some things could be lost in translation. I'm leaving a couple of bits out because I don't exactly know if they translated right, and so I don't want to give wrong information due to a poor translation. Wanda discovers in Agnes's basement a witch's den and confirms that Agnes is Agatha, the character from the comic. Now that's the main story plot of that episode. The other part of the story is that Monica and Darcy go into Monica and Darcy and Wu end up in the other world. Okay, they end up in Wanda's reality. We know Darcy does. When Darcy gets in there, she meets with Vision. Her and Vision take a stroll and they talk. And Darcy explains to Vision everything that's been going on. She tells Vision that Wanda killed him. And of course, Vision goes, wait, why would Wanda kill me? And Darcy explains why Wanda had to kill Vision. And Darcy explains everything to him. And this is after, of course, Darcy's woken up because Vision has to wake the people up that come through. When Monica comes in to this world, and again, I do believe, I don't know if this is one-to-one on translation. It doesn't go well. And again, I want to remind people, the previous translation for episode 6 talked about Maxima candies. It was maximize your candy. So like there is a loss in translation. I want to make sure everybody's aware of that. When Monica comes through, her eyes starts to glow. Her eyes start to glow like Spectrum. And she becomes powered. I think something's lost in translation there. I gotta be honest. It doesn't make sense to me one-to-one. I mean, like I get her glowing eyes, but she becomes powered doesn't. There's no I mean, it really doesn't add up. It doesn't. It doesn't mean anything. I mean, there's no context there. So Monica comes through. Monica finds Wanda. Okay, Monica's going to end up finding Wanda. They end up having a chat, I suppose. I'm not sure what exactly he was trying to say here. I'm going to leave that out. He makes a note about Quicksilver too. I'm not going to say that. I'm not going to say that because I don't think it's right. I think the translation is wrong, and I do not want to go there. I will say though, he does make a note about Quicksilver. I don't believe it's accurate. I don't believe the translation's accurate, not him. I do appreciate everything he's done. This is incredible. I mean, I really do appreciate him contacting me and sending me this, but I really do believe some of the translation in this is off. He does not note anything about Tyler Hayward. Again, I don't know if that's just because he didn't feel it was important. He doesn't note anything about Tyler Hayward in this episode. The big thing is about Billy and Tommy start to grow in their powers. They start to discover that they have more powers. Wanda has to leave them with Agnes. Wanda ends up running into Monica. Monica's eyes glow. She is powered. And then, of course, Darcy and Vision have their little heart-to-heart. And the big cliffhanger of the episode is the witch's den, or at least that's the last thing he notes here. He doesn't note anything beyond the witch's den for episode 7. So if that's not how it ends, he did not note it, but that's the last thing he mentions. And I will also say he had previously mentioned that again, episode 5 would end with Pietro at the door, which again, give him, he has proven to me to be a 100% reliable individual. I do not doubt him anymore. I just don't doubt him at all. That's where I'm at. That's my confirmation bias. So I want to let everybody know I don't doubt this at all anymore. Hey, Aiden. Well, thank you for dropping by anyway. A perv? That sounds wrong because it's not spelled like perv, but it's a perv. That's a great name. Captain America goes to put the Infinity Stones, back in time where they came from. So where did he place the Mind Stone? He would have. Honestly, it's kind of, to be frank, time travel in Endgame's kind of fucking ridiculous. It doesn't work if you think about it too hard. I got to be totally honest with you. It doesn't work. What is the House of M reference? Wanda expanding. That actually happens in the comics as they lead into House of M. Wanda's hex ends up expanding over the whole globe, and it actually shows the whole globe glowing red. And I just feel like that is 100% a House of M reference. I mean, I think that's overt. As a comic book fan, I took that as overt. That's me. What makes you think the Quicksilver thing is false? I don't think Quicksilver's false. I do believe that Evan Peters is playing Quicksilver and no one else. Let's see. Dream Kitten says, I wonder if Disney makes these translators sign contracts. They do. They do. I don't know what else. I'm not. I have done my best to try to avoid saying what language he is translating from. I'm doing my best to try to protect his identity. So I'm not going to comment any more on that. But they do have to sign contracts. They have to sign non-disclosure agreements. They aren't supposed to do this. That is the simple fact. This is leaking. This goes against their contract. I am doing my best, though, to try to avoid where it's coming from to protect him and his job and his livelihood, because it's not my intention to damage that in any way. Do you think Agnes took the kids to bring them to Ralph? Yes, I do believe that Agnes is taking the children to the evil entity, 100%. Whether it's the Hellspawn reference or the people chanting for the children, 100%, this is the end game. Episode 7 ending leads into 8 and 9. This is going to be the very, very big finale. Did I actually saw this? What makes you think the quick? Okay, so so I wonder if we will even see the engineer next episode, since it wasn't mentioned there. I don't know. I will say, because again, I do dive more into this in previous episodes. I'm kind of going over bullet points because I don't have all of it right in front of me right now. I have different notes right now. I will say though, he does note, again, difficult to go with translation, but he does note that Monica is on a ridge. Or at least the translation notes that. It's hard for me to say specifically the context of that. I don't know if there is a big meeting. There is nothing else said about Monica being on a ridge except that she's on the ridge. It doesn't really add anything to the discussion, though. Like, it doesn't reveal anything. Not in the description that I have. Hey, Kenny. Is it going to be a 1 hour episode? I don't know if the next one is. I know that one of the episodes, I mean, like, are supposed to be like double sized or something, was the phrasing told to me. Again, I say told to me. It comes from it is translated, so double sized could mean anything, to be frank. Within the last 3 episodes, I do believe they're going to be able to answer everything. 100%. I really do believe it. The one thing, so we're getting into the. I want to make this very clear to everybody. I want to make this 100% clear. And I have an analogy, and so I want to kind of note this for anyone who is curious. I'm a big fan of Star Wars, and I want to say this before I get to my next point, if you'll bear with me. I'm a big fan of Star Wars. If Luke Skywalker in that last episode had been spoiled for me, I would have been really upset, because I would have been very upset because I would not have been able to experience that on my own. Reading that or having someone tell me about Luke Skywalker would have ruined it. I mean, it just would have. That's not how I would have wanted to experience it, okay? I say that to say this. I want to make this very clear. There is something going around for the 9th episode, for the finale, okay? It sucks if it's true that it was spoiled for me. I did not want to know this, okay? If at all you do not want a reveal surprise for you, be very careful to avoid stuff. And I want to make this very clear. Whatever happens in episode 9 in the finale of WandaVision is not something if I do choose to talk about this, it is not something that will just be thrown in a random video. I will warn you as much as possible in the title, in the description, in everything. But I'm warning you right now to be careful where you go on the internet and what you search up. Because if it's true what's out there, if it, the Luke Skywalker moment, if I had read that, if I had had someone talking to me about it, I would have been upset if I hadn't been warned. If somebody hadn't told me, hey, listen, we know something about the finale of Mandalorian. It's a major character. A major character is going to appear. We're about to tell you who it is. I want to make that very clear. Be careful where you go right now. I know that leaking is a very morally ambiguous business. I know these people sign contracts. I really do. And I respect the contracts that they sign, but I also respect the fact that, you know what? This information is given to me. I'm going to share it. I'm going to talk about it. I try to label it. I try to be fair. But at that same discussion, I am trying to wrestle now with the Luke Skywalker kind of stuff. I mean, depending on what you know and what you may not know, okay? You have to start asking yourself what you want spoiled and what you want leaked. Now, I'm not going to reveal that in our random leak videos. When we do our live chats, I'm not going to talk about this. I'm not going to talk about it here either. You're safe. I'm not going to talk about it here. This is for episode 6. I'm not going to talk about episode 9. I will not. It will be labeled very clearly. I am wrestling with it, though. I am very much so wrestling whether or not, if this information is true, how it should be shared and if it should be shared. Okay? And I want to let you know that. And I want to let you know, if I have this information, I'm sure other people do. I'm 100% positive if I have it, other people have it. So it's my warning to you. Be careful where you go, because if I have it, other people already have it. Because that's just it. That's just how it goes. This stuff spreads like fire. Like, you don't contact one leaker. You pretty much get this information out there. You get it out as fast as possible, and then it depends on who runs it for the clicks, right? And I know that it's a business, and I get that. And now I have to, I have to be very, very careful. Okay, it is not a video. It is a very, very clear description of a moment from the finale. Okay? If it is true, it's going to ruin your experience. It is in my opinion, it is a big deal. Okay? This is me this is me taking this information. If what I know is true, one, I'm going to be disappointed that I honestly, this is something I wish I didn't know. Okay? This is really something I wish I didn't know. And two, it's kind of boring to just read it in just a line. A poorly translated one at that. But again, I understand people don't speak English, but it kind of ruins it just kind of, it does. It does. Okay? That's my warning. We're not talking about it here, though. If you find it, if you right now have heard this and you go searching for it and you find it, don't drop it in the comments. Come on now. Don't do it. If you manage to find this, if it's how far out there it's gotten, if you find it, don't drop it in the comments. Okay? Please don't. That's all I'm saying. It is not my place to confirm or deny it in a random live stream. I'm not going to comment any further. But if you find it, don't drop it. Because people need to be able right now to make their own decisions. If you've watched the other leaks, if you know the episode 7 description, the one that I just gave, if you're comfortable with that, that's cool. I respect that. Hey, I've been leaking stuff. I'm a part of it. I know I am. But there's also sometimes where I have to, and again, I have to wrestle with what's going to be out there and how do I put it out there and should I put it out there. This is something that I don't know, because I'm going to pose this question because, you're my viewers, you're my YouTube members. I'm going to pose this question. I'm going to pose it in a way that I would love, I want an honest answer for. If I had known that Luke Skywalker was in the finale, would you want me to tell you? If Luke Skywalker, if I had known in advance that Luke Skywalker was in the finale of Mandalorian Season 2, would you have wanted me to tell you? If you're not a Star Wars fan, it might not matter. But I feel like the heart of the question is there. That's all. That's where I'm getting at. And anyway, I'm gonna go through this. I just wanted to make that clear. I wanted to have that. No. Okay. Oh, damn. Not at all. Not really. Okay. Then I understand. Okay. Radioactive says, where do you see Wanda's character going in the MCU after her show in Multiverse of Madness? No, but that deep fake could have been better. I mean, yes, it could have been better. I respect that. ASM also says no. Okay. Radioactive says, where do you see Wanda's character going in the MCU after her show in Multiverse of Madness? I feel like the only place it goes is the X-Men. She could be a teacher. I mean, she could be a teacher at the Xavier School. She could also be a teacher at one of Doctor Strange's Sorcerer Academies. But I feel like once you're done Multiverse of Madness, Wanda needs to find out who she is, right? So, like, her story arc ends with her wondering, where did I really come from? And that leads her on a path to Magneto. That's where I think it goes next for me. Like, that's what I want to see. And yes, I'm biased. I love the X-Men. I want to see her get to know her father. Always, absolutely. I'm already planning for a Halloween where I'm Magneto, and then my boy is going to be Quicksilver, and my daughter's going to be Scarlet Witch. It's going to be fucking awesome. Anyway, but my point is that I feel like that's where she goes after all this harrowing crap she's had to go through. Wanda is going to ask the questions of where does she really come from? At least if they intend to give her, retcon and reveal to her that, oh, hey, those weren't your biological parents. That's where I want the story to go. So again, it's a little bit of bias, I have to admit. Aiden says, but I don't really. Oh, okay. He'd retract. I don't know then. I don't know what was being said. I will say, as it is right now, I have no. CRX says, "Do we know anything about episode 8?" Yes. Again, I I'm having a lot of difficulty deciding what to share and how, because it's the argument of the clicks, right? I mean, I feel like that. It's a question of the clicks, and I understand. I know the business of YouTube. I know the algorithms, but also it's really like, I get making a separate video, and whatever I choose to do, it will be very clearly labeled. It will be in its own video. I don't recommend you watch it. I gotta be honest. Like, for one, when it comes to the finale is something that I don't feel like I intend. Right now, I don't have any intention of discussing. Period. I really don't. But whatever ends up happening, I really don't recommend you check anything out. That's just me. Do you see the twins in Doctor Strange 2? Yes. Will Wanda and Vision fight a bigger entity? I think so. I do think so. When will we see Hulkling? I think we're going to see Hulkling. I think, honestly, like, one of the best places to introduce Hulkling is Secret Invasion seems like a great place to put him in my opinion. What are your thoughts on Monica's aerospace engineer friend, the Skrull from Captain Marvel? It could be the Skrull, but it also could be, they could retcon, it could be Grim Reaper. It could be Simon Williams. It could be one of these characters before they have their supervillain origin. It really could be one of them, honestly. At the same time, though, Tyler Hayward might not be Tyler Hayward either. But, it is what it is. I don't think Tyler Hayward's Mephisto, though. I don't mean that. I want to make that very clear. Like, I know, like, I got... I have like a ton of emails and DMs that are just a bunch of memes and gags about your Mephisto. They're really hilarious. I want to give props to the people who have sent them to me. But it's just, I love that. That's hilarious to me. Everybody's Mephisto now. I don't think Tyler Hayward's Mephisto though. At least that's what my gut's telling me. I don't think he's Nightmare or Mephisto. Radioactive says, could you see the Russo? Is it Russo or Russo? I'm terrible with names. Directing an MCU Wolverine movie or TV series with how much they talk about him being interested, especially on who to cast. Yeah, actually, I could. Not a TV series, but I could see them doing a Wolverine movie. It's funny because the Russo brothers are big fans of Wolverine. They were talking about Wolverine all the way back during the Winter Soldier press back in 2014. So they have never hidden that. I could really see them doing a Wolverine film. Yes, yeah, I did before they were all taken down. I actually... I know that they came from an individual's art station. I know he got in trouble. I'm really sorry. I'm sorry. I apologize to anybody who gets in trouble. But yeah, I have them all. I got them all in my email. It is Russo. Oh, okay. Thank you. For the Doctor Strange 2 villain, was it going to be Nightmare because the director before Sam Raimi said he always wanted to see that villain? Yeah, as far as I've ever been made aware, and this is what makes me curious about what's really going down, Nightmare was the villain in Doctor Strange 2 originally, in the Multiverse of Madness, that film. Nightmare really was going to be the villain. I say was because I don't know the current context, and there's a lot of crazy information out there right now, but he was going to be the villain, 100%. Will we see Wonder Man? Wait, where? In WandaVision or in Doctor Strange? Radioactor says, is Dormammu or Shumagorath going to have appearances in Multiverse of Madness? Not that I've heard currently, to be totally honest. Dormammu, though, would be pretty easy to sneak in because they don't have to cast anybody different. It's, Benedict Cumberbatch was already voicing Dormammu. So they could actually keep him under the radar for a very long time. Um, so when it comes to Wonder Man, I'm sure we've talked about it. We've all heard the bullshit. I'm going to call it bullshit right now because I think it's hard for me to kind of swim through some of the rumors. Um, I have a hard time. Like, I don't think we're going to see a fully fledged Wonder Man. I think Simon Williams is more likely, and I still think we could see Simon Williams in WandaVision. For me, I still feel like that, but there's no evidence. Like, based on episode 7 description, there's no evidence that he's going to suddenly pop up unless one of these translations are off and they just didn't name Simon Williams in the description. Drim says, I'm so upset because they literally minimized John Boyega on a Chinese Star poster. I hate how Disney allows the bigotry to continue. Oh, yeah, we were actually, yeah, I mean, that's something I totally agree with. I mean, not only did they minimize it, but we were talking about this in the lounge on our Discord. There is a poster of Black Panther, the Chinese poster versus the American poster. And the American poster has all the actors. None of them are wearing masks. It's a very, I mean, it basically, it's representation. And then the Chinese poster is just a city with Black Panther in full costume. Yeah, that's bullshit. It is. It is bullshit. And why there isn't a bigger outcry, I don't know, but there should be because it is bullshit. Will Rintrah be in Doctor Strange 2? I, I believe so, but I have to be honest. I think some of the casting documents that are going around are slightly inaccurate, but I do think he is in it. What's your take on the rumored 10th episode? I don't think we're getting an extra week, but I do think because this goes back to the translation that I was talking about. I have to wonder if double-sized episode means that 9 and 10 are going to drop on. Oh crap! Let me. I don't remember exact dates. So we got episode 6 today, and then we're getting 7 on the 19th. And then we're getting 8. So that's right, March 5th. So on March 5th, I do wonder if the double episode translation is just a poor or double size, is really 2 episodes dropping on the 5th of March. I do think Taskmaster is going to be an ongoing villain. I would be shocked if he's just suddenly killed and written off. I mean, talk about a missed opportunity, but I do think he is. Federal. Oh, The Witness. Yeah, Terry. That's one of the first things I talked about back in the first episode. I agree. I do think either Simon Williams or Grim Reaper. I think one of them is the missing witness. Do you think we could ever see Wanda Strange and Loki team up in the MCU? Yeah, actually, I do. I got to be honest, I really do, and I do wonder if we're going to get that in Multiverse of Madness. Okay, is Beta Ray Bill going to soon show up fully introduced in Thor 4 or his own series? We talked about this a little bit in a previous live stream. So this is technically, depending on where you want to put this, it's either a wild rumor or a leak, depending on your point of view. I believe it 100%, to each their own. I have my own biases, you have yours, and that's fine. So, there is Beta Ray Bill concept art, okay? There is Beta Ray Bill concept art done by the Marvel Studios visual development team, right? Now, I say that, but I also want to say this. There has been concept art of Nova since about 2015, 2014. There has been concept art by the Marvel Studios visual development team for a character that still hasn't appeared. So concept art doesn't always mean that they're coming soon. But there is concept art of Beta Ray Bill. I think he's coming soon. I do think we could see him in Love and Thunder. Again, the concept art could just be visual development team experimenting. Maybe they have loose plans for the character, but I do think he's coming, and I think Love and Thunder would be a great place to introduce him, or at least to tease him early on. Yeah, Kenny, we know we talked about that at the top of the episode, and we've also been talking about that in the Discord. I do believe. I have said I do believe she is playing Veranke, the Skrull Queen. He did. Yes, there was a face of whether or not it was Beta Ray Bill or a statue of that species. I know some people debate, and I respect the debate. But yeah, Beta Ray Bill has, or again, that visage of him did appear. What did you think of the costume props for comic book attire? Oh yes, I actually I had notes on that. I didn't get to. I loved all the costumes. Speed and Wiccan were incredible. Seeing their powers finally activate were freaking awesome. I loved that. But then also, I mean, they even did the little twigs of hair on Quicksilver. Like that was great. Like as a comic book fan who grew up with this stuff, especially crappy 80s costumes, I mean, just absolutely amazing. Like they knocked it out of the park. I loved the costumes. I also love that Wanda was, again, her costume was based on a Sokovian fortune teller. Amazing. I loved all of it. I loved every single bit of it. They looked amazing. And then, of course, finally, Vision. Vision looked great as well, but Wanda and Quicksilver knocked it out of the park. Again, I'm a big fan of mutants. I love the X-Men, so they have a special place in my heart, but they knocked it out, and I loved it, and I want to see more of it. I got to be honest. But the twigs of hair on Quicksilver, on Pietro, that was the best. I really never thought I would see that because, like, that's just such a comic book thing, and they did it, and I just, yeah, I was so excited. Okay. Um, do you know anything on She-Hulk's design in the MCU? Just rumors. I put them completely in rumors. They have been doing concept art of it. Uh, I've heard. I mean, I've heard all kinds of, again, what I'm going to call bullshit right now. I've heard all kinds of different bullshit. Versus, she's going to be in a mocap suit. She's going to be painted. She's going to transform sometimes. I've heard all kinds of stuff. I mean, by painted, of course, prosthetics and everything. I haven't heard anything definitive that I feel confident in. Like I haven't heard something where I'm like, oh, this is a leak. No, I still feel like a lot of this is just wild rumor. Will Moon Knight have the costume where he wears the white suit or the armored up suit? That's actually an interesting question. I don't know. So I've heard a couple of loose stories. It's going to be interesting where they go. I know that there is. So I've been told, again, my own biases. There is a variety of concept art for Moon Knight in various different costumes. I don't know if this means he's going to change throughout the show or if they're just kind of testing different varieties and they're going to settle on one. But I know there is multiple different costumes that have been concepted and designed. Will Rick James be coming to the MCU anytime soon? I think so. I got to be honest. I really do. Whether it's She-Hulk or something, my gut just tells me I really think so. Hey, LRG. Could we see the X-Men's Legacy Virus saga adapted in the MCU? I mean, I would love to see it adapted, but I feel like it's got to be a while before we get there. I feel like, when we talk about certain stories to be adapted, like the Legacy Virus, you got to take time. Like, you can't do that out of the gate. You know what I mean? Paul Bettany. Paul Bentley. Paul Bettany continues to shine as an actor, and he's gotten to stretch his range in this series brilliantly. Yeah, I mean, he and Elizabeth Olsen both have done an amazing job. I mean, they really have, and that's why I love the concept of these Disney Plus series because they get to stretch out. You know what I mean? They get to be characters. It's like a comic book. Don't get me wrong. I love the 2-hour films. Absolutely. They're fun. But you can never have that kind of depth that you can get in an ongoing story like a series or a comic book. And this really does. This feels like a comic. This feels like when I was a kid picking up a comic, picking up Uncanny X-Men every month. You know what I mean? Like once a month, except, it's once a week. It's that it's that excitement. It's that fever. It's that, it's just... It's a part of me, that kind of excitement and wait, and I love speculating and theorizing, whether I read an issue and I like to speculate about it afterward, or I watch an episode. I like the time to speculate. And I got to give Disney props for this. If it was something that you just binged and it was done, it wouldn't be the same. I'd be disappointed. I like Disney's attitude about how they're approaching shows. At the same time, I respect Netflix, don't get me wrong, but there's something really exciting about how I grew up with television, waiting for that cliffhanger and wondering what's going to happen next and being able to talk about it. Not only is it great for socializing and it's great for, building relationships, it's just fun. With that Shangri-La drop in. Yeah, Lennon, that's a great point. Like, I have to be really honest. When Shangri-La, like mentioning that, I can't help it. I immediately go there and wonder, like, oh man, like, we're gonna get there eventually. We're gonna get there. Caleb said, "I love that Paul went from audio recordings as Jarvis to his performance in the movies as Vision. It really was an amazing evolution for that actor, and he was just as shocked by it." I believe Abomination's coming back because he's been in a prison cell, and he's going to he is going to be why can't I think of the phrase? She-Hulk is going to be defending him, representing him. That's the word. That's the word. Again, it finally hit me. She-Hulk is going to be representing Abomination in court. Again, She-Hulk's going to be a comedy. It's going to be a 10-episode comedy series. I just, so you manage your expectations. It's going to be funny, and I can't wait for it. Falcon and Winter Soldier, yes, it is. It is 1 month away, and I can't wait for that. Again, it's going to be something I'm really excited about covering. I can't wait for that. How will America Chavez fit into Doctor Strange 2? That's interesting. Again, being completely honest, I haven't heard anything, which is like crazy for me. So again, ever so often I put this out there in the live streams, and sometimes I actually have people hit me back with evidence, and they're willing to verify their identity. If you have anything on America Chavez, I'm right here. GregSandersPresents@gmail.com. Thoughts on the new comic lineup of current Guardians with Doctor Doom and Super Skrull? Hey, we talked about that the other day, Radioactive, when they announced it. That's actually in a previous live stream. We went over that. I do think, I don't think every member, but I do think there is synergy with future plans for cinematic Guardians. Not Doctor Doom, but especially Super Skrull. I don't think all of that's coincidence. He really has. Paul Bettany is the longest member of the MCU. I hope we get Charlie Cox's Matt Murdock going against She-Hulk in court. I think we will. I got to be honest. I really do believe we will. I mean, that's it. I really do believe we will. Like, I'm at 100%. Like, that's where I'm at right now. Charlie Cox appearing in She-Hulk is at like 100% for me. Let's see. What do we got here? But yeah, anyway, though, yeah, Paul Bettany, love him. I want to see more of him, and I hope he doesn't disappear anytime soon. Could Phil Vale be in the MCU alongside Dark Hawk? Yeah, absolutely. And I really think I would be surprised if we didn't see Dark Hawk in the cosmic lineup soon. I could see Dark Hawk appearing in Volume 3 of Guardians, to be frank. Back in the day, and this is going way back, to be honest, so it might be bullshit now, but back in the day, there was all those stories about Dark Hawk being in the original script for Guardians of the Galaxy Volume 3. I had several people reach out to me with that information. Again, though, I mean, like, I was never able to really verify it beyond a few, like, accounts of, yeah, I heard that, which, again, like, it's kind of iffy to go off of that and call it a leak. But I do have to reference those stories. There were a lot of stories. I even talked about and ran them myself about Dark Hawk in the original script. It is interesting to pay attention to. Did you see the actor who plays Wong? Yeah. Did you also see what he was wearing? He was wearing Spider-Man socks. Just putting that out there. LRG said, since Tommy speed color seems to change with different clothing, then does that mean he might not have the green and white speed colors all the time? That's a good question. I imagine it's going to be reflective of his clothing, to be totally honest, which is reasonable. Yes, Eternals did. Whoop. My ear was itching and it fell. There we go. Yes, Eternals did film a couple of days ago. I have my notes. We talked about that in our Discord. I do believe it was for a post-credits scene. The information here, give me just a minute. So yeah, on February 8th, Eternals filmed in secret. Okay. Several. This is what was given to me. It doesn't list. I have responded to this individual. I am waiting for information to come back. I hope they respond. Several cast members were on hand to film a top secret scene for Eternals on the 8th of February. Marvel did not want this reported, and apparently, and again, I'm still waiting for it. Apparently, a special actor was brought in undercover. He was completely covered up, and he was obscured because they didn't want any chance of someone spotting him. And he filmed this scene with the cast members that were there. It's a very loose description. I got to be honest. But I will say this. I believe it 100%. Now I'm just trying to figure out who was actually there because, and again, I'm being honest with you. It's not listed. There is he does not list a single cast member or this top secret cast member. So I responded. I responded to this individual. I hope he gets back to me. But they did film something. I think I think it's a post-credit scene. I got to be honest. I really do. I think it's a post-credit scene. Let's see what Beyonder could fit perfectly in Eternals. I do agree with that. I wonder what's up with Dottie. You know, for a while I thought something was going to be up with Dottie, but now she's just kind of like completely faded into obscurity in the show. But there's still, some time left. Maybe they gender swapped a character. Maybe she's going to be somebody and they gender swapped her. Let's see. Adam Stewart said maybe an actor who's playing Star Fox. Potentially. I mean, that's fair as well. It could be. Malik suggests the Black Knight. Caleb says, "What if it's Ryan Reynolds?" It's interesting. It is interesting to speculate. Okay, 100%. It's tough for me though. It's really tough for me because I do want. I mean, like I agree. I do wonder who this top secret actor was, or I mean, for all we know, again, I want to play devil's advocate because I'm trying to manage my own expectations at the same time. It could just be Josh Brolin. To be honest, it could just be Josh Brolin. And yeah, he would be top secret because of a Thanos appearance, but that really could be it. They could be secretly filming, a scene with Thanos, and that's what they're doing. That really could be it. I could speculate further. If it's an all new character, then it could go crazy. Like it could be anybody if we want to start speculating all new characters. So it's tough. It's tough. Ryan Reynolds though, that's a funny one. I got to admit, I didn't think of that. Let's see. Radioactive says, "Do you think the MCU would later on do the alternate Fantastic Four lineup of Spider-Man, Hulk, Wolverine, and Ghost Rider?" No. I mean, I got to be honest. I don't think so. It doesn't feel right. I get why the comics do it, but when it comes to marketing a movie and marketing a film IP, it feels wrong to me. And again, to each their own, but it feels wrong to me to mess with the Fantastic Four lineup. The Fantastic Four, to me, should always be Reed, Sue, Ben, and Johnny. I really do feel that way. When Agnes came out of Wanda's control or faked it, she started to get little wrinkles. Did she? I didn't notice that. I mean, I know she had the crazy laugh, but I didn't notice anything like prosthetic wise changing. I got to be honest. Are the Celestials going to still be around to create the X gene? If that's how they go in the Marvel Cinematic Universe, because again, that they might not go that direction. I do believe that Celestials are going to have a role to play in the MCU, in the MCU's future, depending on, because Eternals kind of covers multiple eras. So that's that's open to interpretation. But they could go a different route for the X gene, to be totally honest with you. Is Power Boy and Luke Cage the same character? Power Boy? Have I been out of comics too long? Hold on a second. I got to be honest. Power Boy does not ring a bell. So I'm switching over. The only Power Boy that, again, I know the one from DC. I got to be honest. There's a Power Boy in DC, but there's not a Power Boy in Marvel. I mean, if I'm missing it, absolutely. Correct me if I'm wrong. Ah, yes. Yes, Power Man is the same character as Luke Cage. That's his superhero identity. Yeah, that was an easy one. Luke Cage is Power Man, and that was his superhero identity name. He went by Power Man, which, again, I love that personally. Think Dream means Power Man. I thought it was Power Man. Okay. Everybody's catching up now. I was confused too. ASM wanted to ask who would win, Ego versus Thanos. Oh, Thanos. Again, I guess everybody could have a different answer to that, but Thanos would totally whoop him. What do you think of Asteroid M and the Acolytes showing up for MCU X-Men? Okay. You get me started on X-Men, I could go on for a tangent for a while, and we've already almost hit an hour. But I got to be honest. Asteroid M, first X-Men movie. Think about it. You want to make the X-Men different from what Fox did? Reveal at the end. I mean, really hear me out, because I get excited. You get me talking about X-Men, I can go on for a while. Like, I could have an X-Men stream, for God's sake. I really could. Think about the first X-Men film ending and getting a post-credit scene, and we see where Magneto has been. Magneto's not in the first movie at all. He's just talked about. He's just referenced. The first movie ends, no Magneto. We get a post-credit scene. Camera pans up. We go to an asteroid. We focus in on an asteroid just floating. We zoom in, and we see Magneto sitting on his throne. In his helmet. Yes. Yes, I want it. I want it so bad. I want it in the first X-Men film. I'm hungry for it. You have no idea. I mean, like, I love the X-Men. If you're new, I want to stress that. I love the X-Men. I really do. I have been called a simp for the X-Men. I love them. But I want it. I want Asteroid M. I want it in a post-credit scene, and I want it to establish Magneto. And I don't want to see his face. I want the helmet to completely shroud his face and just his eyes to glow. And then it cut. And you know who it is. It's just like that Thanos ending. Everyone in the audience will go, "Who's that? Who?" Everybody in the audience, like the people who don't read the comics, would turn to their friend and go, "Who is that?" And they go, "Oh my God, it's Magneto." Yes, I want it. Absolutely. By the way, Kevin Feige, I'm totally open to writing an X-Men script. I have several. I love the X-Men, and I've been waiting I want it done right. So if you need help, buddy, I am totally willing to pitch you some of my ideas, because I really want to see the X-Men done right this time. We got to do it right this time. Anyway, I apologize for going off discussion, but I can't help it. But wasn't he okay? Oh, we're back to Power Man. He wasn't I know he wasn't a child in Young Avengers. You might be in the Ultimate Spider-Man cartoon. They did DH Power Man. They made him a kid, but Luke Cage was not a child. No. Let's see. Sanders, the Eternal Secret character, could be the one above all. I mean, I don't think so. I mean, it could be. Again, like, that's where we kind of get into, we could speculate. That's the thing. Like, when they note top secret actor, it's just like, oh, well, okay, that opens up the freaking door. Will Black Knight's suit differ from the comics? Yes, it will. It will. But it's been described to me as a modernized adaptation, but I expect it to differ significantly. I'm trying to keep my expectations in check. Could you see the canceled Deadpool cartoon by Donald Glover returning? Not right now. I really don't. Marvel Studios, now that Kevin Feige's taken full creative control, they're moving in a very different direction. I've heard a lot of stuff. We'll see what happens. I'm excited about what I hear. I know a couple of people who have applied for a job. I know that they're looking at some animation work. I've heard a lot of crazy shit, but it's good crazy. And I'm excited to see if any of it pans out. I gotta be totally honest with you. But I think the canceled Deadpool cartoon is probably not in their current direction. It's obviously the Deviants. I do believe it is Druig. Probably saying that wrong. I've only ever read it, to be totally honest with you. But again, there is a possibility that and again, I personally think there is a twist. I think there's going to be a twist in the film, to be really honest. I think someone's going to end up being a villain that we didn't expect. I'll leave it at that. Again, I've just heard different things, and so I try to be careful. Because I don't want to drop something that, like, actually ends up being a leak, and, like, I consider it a rumor, and then I just drop that information. Like, hey, randomly, here's something you probably didn't want to know. You probably would have rather waited for the film. Dream Kitten says, I wish. I think I missed something. I don't know. LRG Tech says, and for X-Men 2 ending for MCU, they fight Magneto, and after he retreats, and then we see him walking to a church, and the Faints of Brotherhood... We are the brother. Oh, okay. Sorry, I got kind of lost there. I think I get what you're saying, though. I do think I get what you're saying, LRG. Magneto is beaten. He retreats, and at the end of the X-Men 2, he brings together the Brotherhood of Mutants. He says, "My brothers and sisters." I like that too. That's good. That's good, and because again, you could go that way. I would. As a just a little addendum, I'm sorry. I love the X Men. I'm kind of. I feel like if he's on Asteroid, I feel like he might already have some acolytes. You know what I mean? Like on Asteroid M, I feel like he would already have some. Um, I know it may not happen, but I'd love Team Ninja Nintendo to make X Men Legends 3. I will say, and I want to make this very clear, Nintendo's paying attention. Nintendo and Marvel both are. If you want an X-Men game on Switch, you let them know. I mean, I know people think it doesn't work, and I'm not talking about petitions. Petitions rarely work. Email Nintendo. Let them know, hey, I loved Ultimate Alliance 3. I would love to see another Marvel game on the Switch. You have to let these companies know that, one, you purchased it the first time, and two, you're willing to purchase more because they are paying attention. Email them directly and let them know. I always advise people to do that. I know this from the other side of the business. We actually do pay attention. I know it sounds like bullshit a lot of the times, like, oh, they don't actually pay attention to us. No, we really do. If you send those emails out and if you send them out in massive numbers, yeah, they pay attention to it. I'm just being totally straight with you. Wanda being so lost in life after the death of Vision, Wanda joins the Brotherhood. How about those apples? Yeah, I think that's possible. I think it'd be interesting too to, like, Wanda's lost after the events of Multiverse of Madness. She's trying to find out who she is. She discovers her father. She discovers Magneto. Magneto gets her into, he doesn't manipulate her because Magneto actually believes what he believes, but he's able to tell Wanda, this is what I'm fighting for. Look at these humans. They've tried to kill you this many times. Look at what these people do to you. They want you in cages. And Wanda, after what's happened in WandaVision and Doctor Strange, she's like, yeah, you know what? They have. They really have done this to me. They tried to kill my family. They tried to kill my children. And yeah, she could easily turn. The Frightful Four, possibly an MCU Fantastic Four. Yes, I mean, I do think we could see the Frightful Four. I think the Masters of Evil are more likely, but I do think we could see the Frightful Four. Hey, Aiden. Well, I want to say you're back. I want to also apologize though. It is lunchtime for me. I'm gonna so I do apologize. You're back and I'm going. I want to thank all of you. Like, really, I mean, each and every one of you. Thank you so much for your time. I want to thank Radioactive, our new YouTube member. I want to thank, of course, as always, my YouTube memberships. The support means so much to me. As always, drop in the Discord. I'm always dropping in, chatting with everyone. I always try to drop in anything that I hear, whatever I hear. I always try to post it. I always try to keep abreast and keep everyone else abreast of anything as I learn it. I am making notes for Monday's episode. There is a lot of separate Marvel information that I wasn't able to get to today. I am looking forward to chatting with all of you, and I will be back on Monday to discuss more, unless there is crazy breaking news. If we get crazy breaking news, you'll see me go live over the weekend. We'll see what happens, though. So, to all of you, thank you all so much. You have a wonderful day. Stay safe. We are having really bad weather in Texas. Wherever you are, stay safe on the roads. Be careful. Take care of each other out there. Again,